This is our war cry. We'll rise up. And this is our time to rise up. This is our war cry. We'll rise up.
Hello and welcome back to The Life of Erin Moffat. That's me, and from what I hear, it's far more interesting than I know, so I figure I'll let the world tell me how interesting it really is. A bit about me: I'm a single mom, widow, network marketer, silver and gold stacker, and all-around irresponsible hot mess. But I'm becoming less irresponsible, and how am I doing that? That is what this show is all about. So without further ado, I have an experience of the day to share with you. It is my awesome 5- and 6-year-old kiddos asked for a donut when we went to the grocery store, and I'm like, yes, because donuts are awesome. Let's do donuts. We get in the store, and I'm thinking, I need some food. I don't do donuts for me, so what could I do? And I'm looking at the bagels, and I'm like, jalapeno cheddar, yummy, but it's like 8 a.m., and I shouldn't have jalapenos yet this morning. So then I'm like, Asiago bagel. Okay, I'll go for that. So I get the Asiago bagel. My kids get their donuts in their bags, and my daughter wants to say, what did you, well, let me see your donut. And I'm like, okay, it's a bagel, but whatever. And she smells it, and she's like, oh, can I have some? And I said, yeah, you can. And she said, guess what, Saoirse, to my other daughter, I'm gonna try some of Mommy's Smelly Donut. And it was obviously hilarious. It was really funny because my Smelly Donut still was attractive to her somehow. So this is my segue into what this one is about, and this particular YouTube video. And I wonder if you've ever been a failure in your life at anything. And I know I failed at very many things. So I'm sure that anyone watching this can agree that they have failed at something. And I decided that life can be like a smelly donut. On the surface, it might smell funny. It might not look as attractive as a very yummy donut, but it's really quite good. And it's 100% capable of satisfying hunger. Probably better than the donut could, right? Even if it didn't know or understand success versus failure or purpose or whatever, you know, the bagel obviously doesn't know that it's a bagel, and the donut doesn't know, but the donut's fun and the bagel's smelly, but the bagel is more satisfying. So what does that mean? I'm saying that it's easy to feel like you look like a failure and you smell like one too, but you're not, okay? Because I failed at many things, and the truth is I have had more successes than I have had failures in my life. But really, what is success? So success is defined so differently by so many people. And I asked about a year ago or so on Facebook, I think there's a garbage truck around here somewhere, very loud, but about a year or so ago I asked people, what is success to you, on a Facebook post. And of course they had lots and lots of responses, and a lot of them were very similar. Being happy, money, things. So what I gathered is there's a lot of descriptions of success, from how to have lots of money and things, to work more, to have more and work less. I've seen it be defined as a physical, ability, like maybe a good football player getting a scholarship for school, or going professional NFL, or a long distance runner, just making it to Boston, or whatever it is that the person is interested in succeeding at in a particular sport. Another way is social stature. A lot of people want to be set apart positively. They want to be ranked up. They want to be like, I'm elite, or I'm the top, or I'm the boss, I'm the CEO, or at least if I'm not, I'm above everybody. I'm above most everybody else, and that's success. Another way people, and this is true, another way people find success is they think it's okay to cheat and use loopholes, cut corners, sneak through back doors, and then they get to the top of where they want to be, and that to them can be a success. And then of course, being happy. The reason that one drives me the most nuts is because everyone's like, just do whatever, make sure you're happy. Well, if I do whatever to make myself happy, I end up hurting a lot of other people. So that one to me is extremely selfish and ridiculous. But you know, whatever. Who am I to judge on whether you should be happy or not? So for my personal story, my experiences, I have made some major accomplishments. Okay, so I graduated high school, 3.4, barely had to do anything to study. Didn't even take books home. Then I went on to college, had no problem getting in, got a bachelor's degree, bachelor's of science. Future's looking bright, lots of opportunities. I mean, I got the whole world ahead of me. After that, I decided to be an EMT, no problem. Worked in an emergency room setting, successful. Then I got a master's degree in medicine as a PA. I succeeded there as well. While it was a struggle, I succeeded. All during this time, I was becoming a very competitive long distance runner. I was really getting good at it. I was getting medals. I was placing, and after my very second marathon, I qualified for Boston, and I went. That story is a whole nother story for another time, but it was a very, very interesting experience I will tell you about. But I did lots of 5Ks, 10Ks, half marathons, full marathons, just countless half marathons and about 8 marathons, including Boston, Marine Corps, rock and roll, several rock and rolls, and then just ones around the state. So, you know, and as a PA, I was very successful. I did well. I just thrived in every aspect of. I could move laterally, and I could work in urgent care. I could work in pain medicine. I could work surgery, and in every aspect I worked, I did well. And that was my training. But basically, the point is I have a lot of awesome accomplishments. Another one, I got married and had kids. There are a lot of people that didn't think they'd ever see that day happen in my life. So during all this, you could look at my failures, okay? And here's what I really want to talk about failures. If I came and told you, you know, when I was a runner, and like I said, this is a good story, but it's really another time story, but I'm going to touch on it. When I was a runner, you know, I suffered a lot of pain, knee pain, ankle pain, hip pain, back pain, whatever, and it moved around all the time, and it never kind of stayed in the same place. And I suffered a lot of injuries, and that wouldn't surprise anybody. If I said, you know, I don't run anymore, and here's why. I've run 8 marathons, I've qualified for Boston, even though I suffered a fracture that required reconstructive surgery. You know, I just got to a point where I'm like, maybe long distance running is a bad idea for me and my health. However, I've got great accomplishments, so I'm done. And a person would go, oh, I know, right? Because running is really bad for your health. And they'd say, oh, I get it. Like, that's a good thing that you probably quit doing that. But what an accomplishment it was for you to where you got and what you achieved. I mean, fantastic. Kudos, right? But I get why you quit, right? So if I tell somebody I'm not a PA anymore, they're confused. But you went to all that school and you owe all that money and you're really good at it, blah, 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 right? And I say, you know, like my running, as a PA, I suffered a lot of injuries. And as a runner, I suffered a stress fracture that required reconstructive surgery. And as a PA, I suffered a lot of stress fractures. It was very, very stressful. I worked a lot of hours, but I don't got to explain it to you, right? I could tell you a similar story, and you wouldn't be as likely to go, oh, yeah, that's good that you stopped doing that because that's very unhealthy. You might, but really you'd be thinking, that's kind of a fail, right? Like, you did all that school, now you're not doing it. And maybe you'd come around to my point of view if you got to know me and listen to my story, but I know people in my life think I failed. They think I failed. So basically, what I've decided to look at is that I am not a failure because I have had far more successes than failures. And what I tended to do before was, instead of coming up to where I wouldn't fail as easily, even though they were big fails, it wasn't because I went up high and fell far. It's because I wasn't building the right foundation. I was building on sand. I was building my next success on something that just wasn't gonna hold me down, right? Or up, or whatever. But basically, I was building on quicksand, and I was just like, that's cool, I'm gonna rise out of the ashes, no big deal, I'll come out of this. But I wasn't looking at a better way to make sure I built strong and didn't slip and fall easily. So now I'm building on the rock and the stone and the concrete foundation that, although I may slip down into failure once in a while, which isn't really failure because it's just, you can't be awesome all the time. You just can't. You just can't, or people won't even like you, right? So now I'm building this foundation that is so much more strong and supportive, and it's people, it's my thought process. And so while I'm gonna succeed now at a much higher point, it doesn't mean I'm gonna fall far. It means now I'm succeeding on top of a strong foundation that just can't be. It's gonna be a really big storm to knock me all the way down, and I don't believe that will happen in my lifetime. So my new success is being here, helping other people, saying, hey, if you have a story like mine and you feel like a failure and you've had a lot of failures, me too. Me too. In fact, today I didn't want to talk about this. And I didn't feel good. I didn't feel good about some things. But I thought, it's not true. The truth is I am a success. The truth is I have been hugely successful. The truth is there's no one or any amount of failures that defines me. What defines me is a story for another time. So I challenge you this week to look at all your successes and all your failures, and don't count them up or add them up or say, well, this one was bigger or smaller than this one. Instead, just say, I've had a lot of successes. I've been successful at this and this and this and this, and here's where I've fallen. Or did I fall? Maybe I just stopped doing something that wasn't good for me anymore. Maybe I stopped doing something that didn't feel right for me anymore, and I can be okay with that no matter what anybody else thinks. My challenge to you is to find ways that you are a success. Write them down, share them in my comments. Nobody's commenting. Share in the comments what you succeeded at. And if you think you failed, maybe you can look at it and go, did I fail though? Or is it something I shouldn't be doing anymore? If you decided something maybe you should still be doing, look at how you can get going again. I've done that as looking at my status as a physician assistant. I'm like, should I go back to it? Man, I'm telling you, every time I think about it, I'm like, no. I mean, it was a long story, but if I ever do, and if I do, and when I do, I know it will be in the setting and the time and the place. We're successes. Our life is a smelly donut. That's awesome because it's still super satisfying and very filling and fulfilling. Okay, see you guys next week.